Coach, Ole Miss shot, I think, close to 75% in the second half against Florida just a couple days ago. You guys held them to less than half of that in both halves. Just how important was that defensive effort tonight? And then how important is it for that kind of stuff to travel with you on the road?
Yeah, Curtis, I mean, defensively right now, at least, through this stretch, we're playing at an elite level. We have really good size in that starting unit from a defensive standpoint. I think we've been much more defensive disciplined than we were earlier. I thought Adesi Tony on number 11, Matthew Morrell, did a phenomenal job. I think he had 5 points until the game was, kind of down the stretch there where they were trying to score quickly. But obviously the key tonight was that 13-0 run where we held them scoreless for 6 minutes, and to go on the road in this league and to lead for 38 minutes and have the home team only lead for a minute 12. I mean, it's a testament to how hard we played for sure.
And then with the offensive execution, you mentioned how Ole Miss switches up their defensive looks. Just wondered what your thoughts were on how the team approached that tonight. And then especially in the second half, looks like you cut the turnovers in about half.
Yeah, I mean, that first half having 9 turnovers, Curtis, really hurt us. But you look at our field goal percentage in the first half at 52%, and then we followed up in the second half with not a great percentage at 44%, but for the game we shoot 48%. I mean, you take that any night on the road, and if we could just eliminate some of those turnovers, I think we could have had a better offensive night. But I thought that, from an offensive standpoint, we made 8 threes. We now have Trey Wade at the 4 spot going 2 for 2 from 3, and Jalen Williams went 2 for 3. Those 4 threes kind of open up the floor for dribble drive angles as well. So just a really good job by our guys, both offensively and defensively tonight.
Thanks, Coach.
Scotty.
Yeah, Coach, I'm just curious for your thoughts on the play of your front court as a whole. It looked like Jalen and Trey were really engaged on both ends, and Kamani too. I think he was a plus when he was called on.
Yeah, Kamani did a great job. I mean, he played 7 minutes and 44 seconds and had 3 rebounds. He was +3 in his 7.5 minutes. And again, I thought everybody played really well. I thought, Devo came in and defended his position, and but obviously our front court right now, I mean, those guys, Trey's rebounding the ball. That was the one area, but to think that Trey, not only those 2 guys go, 4 for 5 from 3, but let's throw in the fact that they had 8 assists as well, with Trey Wade having 5 assists and 0 turnovers. He was just absolutely phenomenal tonight on both sides of the ball.
And I guess just specifically, what did you guys do to maybe limit Ruffin? I think he only had 1 bucket in each half.
Yeah, I thought we did a really good job trying to carry a hand, try to keep him in front of us. We shrunk the floor. We bluffed, stunted, all those terms are some of the things that we worked over the last 2 days to try to make him play in a crowd, to try to not allow Ruffin, number 2, to get out and play in transition where, was a game plan. And we felt like Morrell 11, as well as, Ruffin number 2, we had to do a great job on those 2. And if we gave up some stuff inside to number 3, Brooks, at least that would not allow, 3 balls, because we knew Brooks was around the rim. So we were willing to live with his baskets, but did not want Morrell or Ruffin to have any good, clean looks.
Hutch.
Yeah, Coach, y'all have taken more free throws than pretty much everyone in the country. And tonight, until the last minute and a half, they started fouling you on purpose. You only had 2. Was that just kind of the nature of the game, or what do you think contributed to that?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, the defense that a team plays, I did think early on we settled for too many threes, and then that allowed us not to get an early bonus in the first half. But, the name of the game is just to try to win. It's not, we're not trying to just draw free throws because we lead the country in that category. And tonight you have to credit the opposition for understanding that FTAs, or free throws attempted, is a big part of our game from an offensive standpoint. And they kind of took that away. And so you have to tip your hat off to Coach Davis for not, putting his guys in position to foul our dribble drive penetration.
And also, how would you assess JD's performance tonight? 25 points.
I mean, I thought he was awesome. I mean, he's, you're asking him to do a lot by scoring and then also being a point guard. And he did have 5 assists. We'd like him to continue to work on taking care of the basketball. The 5 turnovers, a little bit much, but obviously when you play someone 37.5 minutes, you really, really rely on them, not only from an offensive standpoint, but he was the one that was assigned defensively to guard Ruffin.
Christina?
Coach, I know we already talked about tonight's defense specifically, but as far as over these past 5 games and these wins, I know you mentioned you wanted to talk a little bit about the improvements that have been made. So what have you felt like has been the biggest difference in these 5 games defensively?
Really good listening, following the game plan. It's in all honesty, I mean, we've been a man-to-man team since I've been coaching college. We've kind of been a no middle team. Our pick and roll coverage, I would say, is the one area, Christina, that we've really, really, really improved in. Our pick and roll coverage was, pretty good at times, horrific against Hofstra. We kind of went back to exactly what we were doing last year after the Hofstra game. And I think we've made, baby steps, which with each outing since we were pathetic on that particular night in Little Rock.
Bob?
Eric, can you remember a team of yours holding 5 straight conference teams under 40% shooting? I think Ole Miss was under 35 tonight.
I mean, I know it's really hard to do, Bob. A couple years at Nevada, I think we had phenomenal defensive teams. I don't have the stats in front of me, but certainly over this 5, game stretch to do it in the SEC. And I think that it's something we got to look up, back-to-back road games on what we've held our opponents to too. Mike, you got that stat for us?
Yeah, it was the first time we've ever held SEC opponents in back-to-back road games below 60.
You mean below 40? Oh, 60 points. Okay.
60 points.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's first time ever in the SEC.
in the SEC, correct.
Okay. And then Eric, that 3 that JD hit at the end of the half, even when Ole Miss opened up with a 6-0 run, you guys stayed in the lead because of that shot. How big a shot was that, do you think, at the end of the half, about 30-footer or something?
Yeah, I thought it was huge. Number one, just recognition of shot clock, recognition of game clock is really important. That's one area that he's definitely improved on. And I certainly think it gave us great momentum, phenomenal momentum going into halftime, because they had kind of scored, a little bit easier the last 3.5 minutes of the first half. They were gaining a little bit of momentum. And I think that shot kind of, took a little bit of enthusiasm maybe out of them headed in, at halftime.
And that 13-0 run, obviously they were 0 for whatever. What were you guys doing specifically to really lock them down in that sequence, do you think?
Just taking away 3 balls, doing a really good job of when they brought shooters off screens, doing a good job of chasing, carrying a high hand, and trying to make them floor it and not give any open looks whatsoever. And then, maybe sloughing or helping off some guys that maybe we wanted to shoot instead of some of their primary offensive players.
And then Note, you talked about him. He had some block shots tonight. He's had some block shots. You don't really think of JD getting blocks, and Jay Will had some blocks too. What'd you think of the block shots?
Yeah, that's one of the things that, getting back to Christina's question, I guess that is one of the things that we talked about, is what we were doing is we were contesting shots, but not leaving the floor. And I think in the last 3 games in particular, we've done a great job of blocking shots, of perimeter jump shots, and not just things inside. And that's part of our, we call them Pat Riley closeouts, where you got to really contest with great desperation. And I thought we did a really good job of that, not just tonight, but in the last few games as well.
Is that one more? The 5-game winning streak, obviously defense is key to, but just how good is it to be on a roll like this when you got off to such a rough start in the league and you hurt your shoulder and all that crap you had to deal with?
Yeah, I think, Bob, that, we never wavered in, hey guys, if you can just follow the game plan, and if it doesn't work, then it's on us. But I thought we went off track a little bit too much earlier in the year, and some of those games we won. And I think, sometimes losing can grasp the attention of your players. And I think that happened. And then as a staff, we kept tinkering. And I don't think at any point in the off season did we think that this would be our starting lineup. But it is the best lineup right now for us and how we want to play and how we have gotten off the fairly good starts, and they complement each other.
Okay, I'm good. You got to tell Van Horn to give you a break, icing that shoulder down. He can't use you 3 times on the weekend, man. It's, you're not 20 anymore.
I thought that my wife traveling was going to help, but it was a long night. Sleeping in a beach chair doesn't really help.
Maybe you should have had a pina colada or something.
Might have helped.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, you guys.